So after the hard oil of Venezuela, they need the service of the Iranian. So I think it is the lust for the oil that the United States is again going for a war in the region and nothing else. It's nothing to do neither with the nuclear program of Iran nor with Khamenei in power. This is not a failed state. This is not a raw state. It's absolutely a system which is already running the country. So this time, he is going for a war with Iran on his own behalf because there are too many issues in his mind. Remember the Jeffrey Epstein file, and the Israeli Mossad is blackmailing him. So what you want to tell me that the Americans are bringing democracy to the region? Give me any country where America invaded or intervened have democracy. Who is running the foreign policy of the United States? Is it the military industry or is it the Israelis lobby that they are doing? So I think this is the question here has to be asked. Imagine if tomorrow Iran retaliate and attack the nuclear site of Israel inside Israel. And who will have the effect? The radiation will come to us, nothing to the American. This is the cowboy policy. It's a cowboy diplomacy. They put the knife for you or the gun on the table and they go and steal the bag. You open the locker, you give them the money, they shoot you on the head. That's the American policy. Is the American going for ending the Islamic revolution in Iran because they believe that the political Islam has no rule in the new American, world order, which Trump is creating himself. He thinks that he's above God, above any laws.
Hello and a very warm welcome to all. You're watching Hindustan Times and my name is Aayesha Varma. All eyes at this point are on the Middle East, with America's massive military deployment and fragile nuclear negotiations being held between the two sides. We have Dr. Waiel Awwad joining us. We're very honored to have him. He is a West Asia strategist and a senior journalist. Sir, thank you so much for joining us and speaking with us today about the developing situation.
Well, thank you for having me.
First things first. Do you think that the Middle East is on the brink of an all-out war between Iran, Israel, and the United States?
Well, I think it is already on because the United States have started with the regime change by force. And then we had a president who criticizes the predecessor for going on with this sort of a policy, and we thought that he will change. But then we saw that he's having a different style of a regime change by policy, whether it's in Venezuela where he hijacked the president and his wife, and then he's selling the Venezuelan oil now, or whether he is talking about the Greenland or Nigeria, or could be also the Diego Garcias and rest of the world, and now it's Iran. So after the hard oil of Venezuela, they need the service of the Iranian. So I think it is the lust for the oil that the United States is again going for a war in the region and nothing else.
Do you think that we could possibly see a Venezuela-like operation take place in Iran?
Absolutely not.
Why?
I don't think so. Because, see, the American is not implementing what the American objective in the region. To be honest, it is the Israelis' objective. Because at the end of the day, it is what the Israel dominance to be in the region, militarily, politically, and economically. That's what the American wants. So Israel is just a project for the American. And in fact, if you look at what happened in West Asia ever since the October attack on Israel 2023, we have noticed that the Israelis changed their military doctrine. And from now, they want no military armies next to them from Syria to Lebanon to Jordan to Egypt to Iraq to Iran. So taking on one by one is a part of the policy of this integration. And the American also implementing it. Because if you look at the commonality between US and Iran, you will find lots of things in common. Remember, prior to the revolution 1979, Iran was the watchdog for the American. So therefore, now after the Islamic revolution came and become an anti-Iran, anti-US policy with both rhetoric from both sides, it's a clear indication that the American think and what they are going to do is just serving the Israelis' objective in this part of the world. And they are not calculating correctly because any adventure of sort of an attack, it will be a catastrophe for the whole region.
Okay. If you could predict the future of Khamenei, what would you have to say about it?
Khamenei is already given his predecessor. He's already named 4 people to take over in case he passed on. He's too old. He's still conscious. He was yesterday attending some prayer for Ramzan, so he is doing well. it's not the problem of the people concept. They are trying to sell us the Western narrative. It is Khamenei, it's the Islamic Revolution. It's nothing to do neither with the nuclear program of Iran, nor with Khamenei in power. This is not a failed state. This is not a raw state. It's absolutely a system which is already running the country. They have a democratically elected government which is run by the president, and there is a system, there is a parliament. He is the supreme leader. He might be the reference of many of the decisions of the government, but he has also been renewed his election every 6 months. So therefore, he's not at the end of the day, the man who says everything on. The daily work is run by the government. So why do we look at it from those angles? America is not going to Iran because of its nuclear program. A nuclear program have been negotiated since 2006. And then 2015, the American 5+1, they have agreed, and they have already sat across the table, and they have decided that this is a nuclear deal only for civilian purpose, and Iran sanctions was lifted. And then the American president come back, and he say he's better than Obama. He said, no, I can give a better deal. He canceled the deal with the international deal they reached with Iran after 2 years of negotiation, and then he started now with the war last year on Iran because of Israel. So this time, he is going for a war with Iran on his own behalf, because there are too many issues in his mind. Remember the Jeffrey Epstein file, and the Israeli Mossad is blackmailing him. He is going for a war because they told him, if you don't, there are tapes, there are allegedly tape of raping underage girls by President Trump. Then what you are going to do? I mean, that kind of bullying on that kind of attack on nations by an American president have attacked even the foes and the friends. So how can you expect this American president to predict what could be the next in this region? Is the predictions that you are going for a war, you're piling all this army, you're bringing all these warships to this region, you're creating havoc in the region, you're going to close the Strait of Hormuz, you're going to close the Red Sea, you're closing the Suez Canal. Then what is this? You are attacking China and Russia and the rest of Asia, who's relying or dependent more on the oil from the Gulf country, where 60% of the oil go to Asia. So what does it mean? America is thousands of miles away. It is a global fight of who will be the superpower, who can be the supreme on the world affairs. And America think that they are still the unipolar world. Is no more. So unilateralism and exceptionalism pushing us into a war where the Iranian at the receiving end, irrespective whether it is Khomeini, whether it's Khamenei, whether it is Pahlavi, whether the American think that time is over. When Shah of Iran was imposed on the Iranian, after the American toppled the elected government of Mossadegh. Mossadegh was elected by the people of Iran in 1953, and America with the Mossad, with the MI6 of Britain, they toppled the government. So what you want to tell me that the Americans are bringing democracy to the region? Give me any country where America invaded or intervened have democracy.
I'm curious, when we talk about nuclear negotiations, they have been renewed. There have been 2 rounds until now in the renewed talks. What do you think the intent was behind this? Do you think that it was just for optics to renew the nuclear negotiations, or do you think there was a real intent from Washington's side to figure out a way to maintain peace in the region and reach a deal?
American wanted to reach a deal, but the Israeli pushing the American president. Everybody knows that Netanyahu, if you look at the history of Netanyahu, go to YouTube and see. He wanted to double the USSR. He said these are bad for the world. Then he said the Shah of Iran. Then he said it is also Saddam Hussein. Then he said it is the Libyan president. Then he said the Syrian president. And then he talked about the Venezuela. What kind of American, who is running the foreign policy of the United States? Is it the military industry, or is it the Israelis lobby that they are doing? So I think this is the question here has to be asked. I don't know how a superpower can behave like somebody is forcing you to go for a war, you will go for a war. This is what's going to in our region. None of the Arab countries, none of the people on the region wanted the war. None of them. Even the Arab countries, the Gulf countries have made it very clear vocally for the United States, we will not allow you to use your military bases inside and to attack Iran, because Iran made it also clear for the Arab countries that any attack by the American troops from your country, you are a legitimate target. So the whole region will be on boil. It will be a turbulence, total chaos. It's not easy to take Iran. Iran is not Venezuela. Iran is not Iraq. Iran is a huge country, 1.5, 1.2 square million kilometers. It's not a small country, and they have a ballistic missile, and Israel will be the target. Imagine if tomorrow Iran retaliate and attack the nuclear site of Israel inside Israel. And who will have the effect? The radiation will come to us, nothing to the American. We will be affected first. So I think they are not measuring well the catastrophe of the war. You can start the war, but nobody knows who will end it. It's not that swift that you're using artificial intelligence that you are going to destroy Iran within 24 hours. The whole arms, the whole industry of the United States, the forces they are sending to the Gulf country, it's not going to be a war of 1 day or 2 days. It's going to be a long-haul war. And that long-haul war means the Strait of Hormuz will be blocked, the Strait of Hormuz will be closed. You will have minimum of 2 to 3 years to reopen it because of the mining by the Iranian. They will not allow you. It's an extensional war. So they will not give you easy or simple that you come and take over and take the country oil and take the country and disintegrate it. So no way that this war going to be an easy walk or cakewalk like for the American. It's going to be a tough and a long haul, and the whole world will suffer. Global trade, global oil supply, all this global chain will be disturbed for years to come. And who will be affected the maximum? South and Southeast Asian region. Why? Because these are the only growing economy that have been showing for the next decade that they can compete with the United States. So make America great is by creating a military zone, by creating a war zone that the American industry can flourish and a company can go to the United States. Otherwise, there is no way out of this mess in the region. We have seen it happen in Palestine, Gaza Strip, now it's in West Bank, and the Israelis saying openly that we wanted to take over the place, we want to expel the Palestinians, we wanted to end their dream of two-state solution. That's openly they're saying. Smotrich, he's saying it openly, Ben-Gvir is saying it openly, and Prime Minister is saying it openly. So then you see Syria, they totally destroyed the infrastructure and the army. Lebanon now, they will take on Hezbollah and they're trying to demilitarize them. And the same thing will happen in Gaza, where they will take the remaining of the Hamas fighters underground, and the American is making it into a Riviera of Trump is making a business out of it. And he wanted to be a long life president of Gaza to function through those money he's extracting from those countries. So it's become like, they don't consider us as a human in the region. It's just like this is our oil, this is our assets. We have to take it back. We have to deny the Chinese. We have to deny the Indian and the Russian from taking over this natural resources.
You don't think there's any chance that these strikes by America, if they do happen, could be limited to nuclear sites, focused on the Tehran program, nuclear program, the way that we saw it in the 12-day conflict?
No, absolutely not. If you go by Trump word himself, he said, I have destroyed totally the Iranian nuclear program. Then why are you going again? I mean, if you have already destroyed it, as you said, you claimed on camera that you have destroyed, why are you going again? It's not the nuclear. It is the ballistic missile technology of Iran. It is the nuclear scientists of Iran. It is the total strength of Iran, the strong country, and the oil of Iran, which is making the lust of the American company to come back and take it and don't let it be. Same thing they did in Iraq. In Iraq, a world of mad deception. They sold to the whole world that it is a war. This is Iraq having world mass destruction. And it turned out they lied on camera on the UN, at the UN, and they they have apologized. Colin Powell, you remember? He apologized for lying to the world that they said the Iraq possessed a weapon of mass destruction. And they say we went for the oil. So what they did, they disintegrated Iraq, they stole the oil, they steal the oil of Iraq and the gold, and they have made Iraq now a puppet regime for the United States. Not even a teacher, a school teacher in Iraq, take his salary without the permission of the American financial center, because everything is sold by the American dollars into the American banks, and the American bank has to sanction till they pay the salaries. So imagine what kind of changes that America is bringing democracy. America is looting their nations, and this type of a president is nothing but a part of a system built on looting nations. And I don't know why the world has to say, I'm not an anti-American, I'm not an anti-Israel. It's not the question. The question here is, give me one part of history ever since the American came to existence. which country they have invaded, intervened more than 89 countries throughout their history. None of this country have democracy till date. So what sort of a democracy? Either you give us everything, anybody who using anything, not buying by dollars, de-dollarization policy, the United States is after them. Venezuela, Iran, Libya, and tomorrow even European Union will be attacked because of the euro. Don't see that the American going there. Even they are feeling the hate. That's why you find the German are in China and the French are in India. So they are looking for a new market. Because this is it's a power struggle between the superpower, and we are just a pawn in their chess games that we are watching them what they are doing with all those small countries. So Iran knows its strength, knows its geopolitical importance for India, for China, for Russia, for the rest of the world. It's the corridor which you have been using it. So the American knows that if this country still exists, it's nothing to do with the proxies. What is the proxies of Iran? Did any of the proxies they have created seriously did attack on behalf of Iran? No, they are defending themselves. Whether it is resistance forces in Palestine because of Israeli occupation and annexation, because of Lebanon, because Israel has already occupied part of Lebanon, because of Syria, they have to already totally destroy Syria. Then what?
You don't think the axis of resistance will make any difference if a conflict breaks out?
Well, there will be. There will be an attack.
What
Definitely they will take the attack on the American. They will attack the American interest. They will attack Israel. Maybe not with that much of fierce force of the American and the Israelis, which they are planning to do it on Iran, because the amount of the plan, the military plan, they have already accepted that they have already put more than 50 targets, major target of the Iranian to attack, and in Iraq as well, and also in Yemen. And that is also part of the war strategy they have put. So it is the infrastructure, it is the Republic Guard of Iran, it is the leadership of Iran. It is then you have to move with the opposition you have created, with these forces you trained from the Kurdistan of Iraq, from Azerbaijan, from Afghanistan, and from Pakistan to move into Iran. So they have to make sure not only they totally destroy every military base of Iran, but they wanted to make sure that Iran will be disintegrated. And that is what the main objective of the American and the Israeli.
How do you think Israel is feeling at this point? Because there have been reports about how they are keeping their bunkers ready. They are also installing missile defense systems in neighborhoods, which critics are basically saying it's putting civilians at risk if you do something like that, because those systems will be a target for the Iranians. But how do you think Israel is feeling at this point? Because they also lost billions during the 12-day conflict that took place in 2025.
During those days, when the 12 days, they were bleeding for the American to end the war, because they knew that the amount of damage that the Iranian could penetrate, even 10% of their military power of the Iranian rocket could launch in Israel, despite the military, the Iron Dome, and the American, the French, the British, every anti-missile system was placed from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean, to the Red Sea to protect Israel. Yet they were able to attack. They learned now, they knew that the technology, they have using artificial intelligence, they are already pinpoint where the weakness point, and they are building on that, and they're bringing a massive bombs that they can destroy. They used it in Gaza Strip, by the way, to 3,200 heat waves that they have created, more 10 times than the volcano heat comes out. That's why they killed so many Palestinians, and they have used those type of weapons. Now they want to use it on Iran, because Iran, they have distributed all their ballistic missiles all over the country, so they don't know from where they're going to fire with the mobile unit as well. So therefore they are trying to focus. So if the Israelis government is upbeat, because now they know the American are going to beat the Iranian, and the moment the Americans start the fight, Israel will immediately come and attack the second levels of target to demolish the Iranian strength, and that Iran cannot stand for the next 2 decades.
What other options does Trump have to corner Iran at this point?
Just don't go for a war. I mean, he's a warmonger. You don't need to go for a war. Nobody wants a war. Iranian asked them, we're looking for a political solution. Let us sit down across the table. You wanted the nuclear thing. They allowed the AII to come and inspect the nuclear agency to come and inspect, except for 2-3 places where the attack was taking place and destroyed by the American. And these are actually, if you go by the legitimate paper, if you go international paper, by UN Charter, by the draft of the Atomic Agency, these are legitimate places recognized by the United Nations, recognized by UN Security Council, given all the details to the UN Security Council. The American took it and they went and attacked. This is a total violation of the international law and the breach of trust with the Geneva, with the Iranian. So how do you expect a sovereign nation to accept you, to let you into those places where you already gave the data to the American and the Israeli to attack it? So you got my point. I mean, these are actually agreed upon, that they have inspected. There is no military activities. They are under the cameras, surveillance. Then why you attacked it? Why you attacked it? So how do you expect me as a country to allow you to come in? You are a spy for them. You've been used by the American and the Israelis because you are giving them all the data of the similar things they did in Iraq, right? So the same thing they can do. So what these new UN agencies are doing, they're nothing but the stooge of the American.
How do you think that the US's regional allies would respond when this escalates?
Well, I think most of the country doesn't want a war. Even they have told them because they will not, they don't want. And they are forcing them to finance. You know how much the Americans spending $300 million per day for the military maintenance of the army in the region. So who's paying the bills, by the way? Are the taxpayer in the United States? I think we have to see if they are forcing these Arab countries to make them pay the bill for the American forces, because none of the Arab countries told America come attack. Only when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, they say okay, and the American give them that fat bills, and everybody paid his share, and the American charged them. Even Afghanistan, when they had invaded Afghanistan and took the Taliban, even Japan paid the money. The American collected from all over the world. So basically it's a rented army. You rent, you wanted to attack someone, pay them the money and they do the job for you. So Dirty Harry can do anything. This is the cowboy policy. It's a cowboy diplomacy. They put the knife for you or the gun on the table and they go and steal the bag. You open the locker, you give them the money, they shoot you on the head. That's the American policy. It's nothing new. Nothing has changed for the American. So I think what we are going to see, it's going to be a very chaotic situation for all of us. None of the Arab countries is interested, because if the military bases of the American, more than 70,000 American soldiers have been placed in all those military bases in the GCC country and in Syria and in Iraq, that will have a major impact on those countries if Iran retaliate. This is one. The second one, imagine if, God forbidden, Iranian attack the warship of the American. And there are 5,000 American Marines and dies. These dot coffins, you think President Trump will remain in power? He will be impeached, he will be imprisoned, because this is not a war by the American. There's no danger. There's no danger of Iranian attacking America. So why you are going for a war? The Constitution of America does not allow the president to go for a war. So what are you doing? Because the Israeli protecting you? Protecting your files in Epstein's Islands? What is happening? The world is watching, and the Arab countries are also very worried, and very worried. They have already said it. Even Saudi said it. UAE, Qatar, they tried to mediate with the American president. Say, please stop it. So everybody is saying no, except America, Trump himself, and even the Pentagon giving his second thought, whether shall we go or no. But now, because of the military piling up, yes, they were saying that imminent war is imminent. The second one is Israel, and the first one is Israel. Prime Minister Netanyahu is very happy and very overjoyed with the American taking part of this attack, because that is the only castle left for the Israeli project in the region to expand Israel from Euphrates to Nile, which include Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine, 1/3 of Saudi Arabia, and the Sinai Peninsula. And they are already saying it, showing it to the world, the map, because they said, this is our promised land. 2,500 years back, we've been promised by this land to create great Israel, a greater Israel in that part of the world. But they don't know that this Mesopotamia or Jericho of Palestine existed for more than 12,000 years, even before any religion came to existence. So how you can claim that you have the documentation of God who has given you to rule this part of the world, when we have been existing on this part of the world 3 times your lifetime?
I'm curious, you just mentioned the fact that, if Iran did attack a U.S. warship, Khamenei has made a recent statement about this, saying that a warship could be brought to the bottom of the sea. I have 2 questions for you related to this. One, how could this be done? Does Iran have those weapons to actually bring down a U.S. warship? And 2, how would America respond? Is it not guaranteed destruction then for Iran if something like that happens?
What guarantee? You are attacking me. I have the right to defend myself, and that is under UN charters. Any country comes under attack, it is Article 5 is written there that you have the right to defend yourself. So why can't I defend myself when you are attacking me from the sea, from the land, from the sky? Then what you want me to do?
On that warship, there are typically 5,000 souls. That's the phrasing that's used for it. America tends to see that as a city in itself, and they see it as an attack on its city. So
yes, that's what we are saying. America has been attacked. Any attack on an American ships where the American citizens are there, it's an attack on America. But if you are the offensive. I didn't start the war. You are going and attacking me. Definitely I will retaliate. And the Iranians have the power, by the way. And they have already, as I said, they have mined the whole of the Strait of Hormuz. They have the small suicidal ships, small boats. They can attack. They have the rockets also within that range, which can be, they have already revealed 5-6 type of rocket, which can, even despite the American technology. And nobody knows what the Iranian have, because Iranian knows that this is their extensional war. Is the American going for ending the Islamic revolution in Iran, because they believe that the political Islam has no rule in the new American world order, which Trump is creating himself. He thinks that he's above God, above any laws. He doesn't want to have a multipolar world. He wanted to have a world of a Trump in power. So Trump is doing all these jobs is on behalf of the Pentagon, of the military industry of the United States, where they are creating more of the havoc on the region. So Iran will be facing that difficulties in attacking the American, but definitely America will lose. And America does not use now privatization of war. They used it in Iraq. They used it in Afghanistan. They're using it in different parts of the world because they don't want to put an American boat in the ground. But you're bringing the warships with this much of Marines on top of it, and the life of an American is also important for the American people. They're saying, we are not being attacked by Iran. Why are you taking us? Why are you taking us to a war? It's not ours. Why the taxpayer of the United States should pay? I think the American people are not understanding, or maybe they are naive. I don't understand. Even they cannot revolt against the government. I mean, the Congress themselves said you cannot go for a war in the region without the approval of the Congress. Yet he's using his own power and going and attacking. The same thing he did in Venezuela. And then when he brought the American companies for the oil of Venezuela, the lust made them close their eyes. Maccandaldo, they closed their eyes. So this is how they are doing. So what does it mean? You legitimizing, you are giving this American great again by invading nations. It's nothing to do with the American, uphold the American democracy, values of democracy, human rights and all. This is only just a rhetoric to the rest of the world. When it comes to the American interest, he can go to any extent. And American interest means you will be also measuring the countermeasure or the backfire on you. And if he does not have not taken on those points in consideration, I think it's going to be a very chaotic situation, because I don't see NATO forces will come and attack Iran unless everybody is happy to attack Iran because they wanted to take their part of the Iranian oil and sector. So it could be, you never know.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong then. Your takeaway here is that Iran could definitely survive a conflict with America because of their missile program?
This is a long-haul war. It's nothing to it. It's not an overnight, like 15 days bombing, 500 warships attacking from different parts, rocket, ballistic missile, everything. Iran still will survive. They will survive. But they will cause pain to you, to the attacker. They will definitely cause some sort of damage. But is the collateral damage is America is able to meet? I think the Iranian will make sure that they will not go down very simple or surrender. They will never. They are not Iraq. They are not Iraq. They are not Libya. They are not Venezuela. I think they will give a tough fight for the American. Because, see, when it comes to war in Iran, let me remind you this one thing. Everybody talked that the Iranian, the harsh situation, the economy bad, people are suffering, the inflation, the currency fall down. This is all agreed. Even the government agreed that this is a legitimate revolt against the government. Yes, they're having the right to do it. But when it comes a foreign power attacking the nation, the whole country rallied behind the government. That's what happened the 12 days attack on Iran. Similarly will happen now. Even the Americans saying we don't want the son of Pahlavi, of the Shah of Iran, because they have the different agenda. They didn't like even the vice president or the opposition of Venezuela because they have their own objective. So therefore, don't let us go by the Western narrative on legitimizing the war. There's no legitimacy for any kind of a war that America is propagating to attack. We have to see from our own angle. Who is the first beneficiary? Is the American military base. Who is the biggest loser? Is the India, China, Korea, Japan, the region itself. So from those point of view, if we look at it, I think we will have a more balanced view rather than being siding with this. These are mullahs, these are Islamists. Leave it aside. Every country has to choose its own people. That's for the people to decide. You cannot decide on the people's choice. But to make it sure and a pretext to go for a war, you are inciting the people of Iran to go against the government. And then you put Starlink, you have started with the net, some kind of a social platform that you can be able to penetrate and get the news, created havoc, shooting the demonstrator, killing innocent people there, and calling it the regime doing this against his own people. And it's all in camera, all of you focus, and they are vocally saying it. We have our people on the ground, and he himself inciting President Trump, the people of Iran to go against their government. But do you believe me, anywhere in the world, or even an Iranian, will allow the American to come and kill the Iranian? No way. This is not a regime that you can pull out like Venezuela, you put them on the table, because your objective is not the Khamenei. Your objective is the country, is the oil, is the infrastructure, is the ballistic missile, is the science and technology. It's the Israeli dominance in the region. It's the only country which is causing Israel worries for its own expansion. So all this has to be taken in consideration when America go for a war, or when we read the American mindset of why they're going for a war at the first place.
Now, while we also look at the external chaos, let's also take a look at the internal chaos, what's taking place on the streets of not just Tehran, but across Iran itself, because we know about the deadly protests that have taken place. It's being cited as one of the biggest uprisings in decades. Beyond this, there are reports that have come out after the protests detailing the death toll. The most recent reports have put that at across 7,000. We also know that there are death to Khamenei chants that are being raised on the streets by Iranians. So what is the temperature like in Iran itself?
Well, I think the demonstration in Iran did not start recently. In fact, if we look at the history of the Iranian uprising from 2006, when the American and the UN put sanction against Iran because of its nuclear program, we saw the hardships on the Iranian, no doubt about it. There was a difficulty, inflation, the rest, the currency fall down, and it reached to a very high level in the Iranian, and we were unable to meet the demand of the people there. And there was a 2009, 2019, 2022, and we have seen revolt against the government. I think this is the largest revolt against the government because it is because of the economic pressure, because the sanction has been causing lots of damage. And that is what the American policy in the region is. Yes, they have done lots of fault among the government. There were lots of demand for modernization, liberalization, and they have been doing it. But imagine you are being under sanction for more than 20 years, and you are still able to maintain the society together of 100 million people under your arm, and also make their demand met with the free electricity, free education, free medications, and still subsidized food. And yet to continue with your military programs, and because you know that this is going to happen to you one day, they will remove you. Because 1979, when the Iranian Revolution came, what was the changes there? They're totally anti-American, totally anti-Israelis. They opened a Palestinian embassy in Tehran instead of the Israeli embassy. The Americans froze their money in the banks, which is $1 trillion almost now in the American frozen because of the Iranian oil and all, because mostly was sold by the American dollars. So now, America, 2015, they had little debridement what they have after the deal signed, and the sanction was lifted. People felt a little bit happy. Then again, Trump came. Then he said maximum economic pressure on Iran. He's applying the maximum pressure. So the pressure is on. So the demonstration were legitimate, no doubt about it. But when you know that there are people who were armed and penetrated among the demonstrators and shooting and killing. You just lost 7,000 Iranian, okay, but you lost also more than 1,000, 2,000 from the from security officers. Who killed them? If it was a peaceful demonstration, that there are bad element within the demonstrator who wanted to create havoc, and like they did in Syria, like they did in the Arab Spring, in Tunisia and Egypt, everywhere. You know, this started 2011. So Iran also was not an exception. They wanted Iranian using this kind of social disobedience and unrest to topple the regime. So they failed from outside an attack on Iran because of the Iranian strength. Now they felt it is the only way to bring Iran down is from within the country. So that's make me to say that the Iranian knew and awakened for the plan to topple the government. They captured many of the people who confess on camera. I don't say that they have the legitimate of killing anybody. No one have the legitimate. They should be accountable. They should be brought to justice when the time comes. But the but comes here because of the economic sanction. You do not take advantage of the people and you say the Iranians are getting killed because of the regime is authoritarian regime killing his own people. But when we know what you did for Iraq, we know what you did for Libya, what you did in Syria, what you did in Venezuela. Everywhere you went, you have killed more than millions of people. 500,000 babies of Iraq died because of the sanction. And when Madeleine Albright been asking, is the price worth it? It's not that. And then 5 million killed in Iraq because of a lie to the world. And again, you want to sell us, well, do you think the American loves the Iranian, that they are coming all the way thousands of miles to defend the Iranian because of the regime? For what? There are 120 tyrants in the world. It's not everybody is a democracy. There are people who are authoritarian regime, who appointed the policemen to attack. So Iranians have the right to defend themselves, to have the right to demonstrate, have the right to have a better life, change of regime. They elect. That's how it happened. You don't like them because they are anti-American, that's a different story. Anti-Israel, that's a different story. But for the Iranian people, they have been practicing their democracy, they have been electing their leaders, and they are vocal about it. But because of the harsh economic situation inside, no doubt about it, there was a revolt against the government, and the government addressed it. And they have already said, even the president told the parliament that you must address the people demand, otherwise we will all go. So there are issues been taking place. But what you want to do? Saddam Hussein was removed when the middle class was totally destroyed by. It was under the American sanction. And when Saddam Hussein started breaking the oil for food programs and the American companies start losing control of Iraq, then they forced the American president to go and invade. And in fact, the invasion of Iraq was done by George W. Bush, Tony Blair, 1 year before the invasion. They decided in the White House. And that is why Tony Blair came on, the Prime Minister of Britain, and he apologized for the people of Britain because he lied to them. Not because they killed half 500,000 Iraqi and 5 million refugees all over the world. No, but because he lied to his own people about the plan to attack Iraq. Just imagine. I mean, what kind of people that they want to satisfy their own people? Who are we? For them, we are nobody. So the Iranian has to decide, are they following the American or they following their own system? And if they could bring down the Shah of Iran, who was the strongest watchdog of the American in the region for more than 4 decades, they can bring down the same government. Because people in millions went in the street to demonstrate, and they brought down the government of Shah, where Carter himself was surprised that he will not come down, but then they brought him down. So the Iranian youth, 65% of the Iran are between the age of 30 to 35. They will bring down any government. Trust me on this. No one can suppress the people revolution. But when you start feeding them and interfering on them, that means your agenda you wanted to implement, not the agenda of the legitimate demand of the people on the street.
Dr. Waiel Awwad, thank you so much for joining us and bringing us your perspective on all of these developments. With that, it's a wrap, but do stay tuned for more.